Sci-Fi Audio presents Hitchers by Will Mcintosh, narrated by Andy Paris.
Prologue. Only 30 minutes separated my grandfather's death from Lorena's. I didn't find out Grandpa was dead until the next day, but I knew he was dying, so it wasn't exactly a surprise. I figured the selfish old bastard would live a few more months at least. His lungs had seemed fine when we'd argued that morning. About the time dear old Grandpa was dying, I was pulling a dripping oar into a canoe on the Chattahoochee River, thinking it would be nice to drift with the current for a while. The morning had been one long relentless paddle upstream, metaphorically speaking, and I felt I deserved a break. "You don't think she'll get fired, do you?" Lorena had asked drowsily as we drifted. I didn't mean to get her in trouble, even though she was incredibly rude to me. She was still ruminating about the argument she'd had with our waitress at the Blue Boy Diner. I was ruminating about the argument I'd had with my grandfather that morning, which had far greater implications for our future. What I didn't know at the time was that we had no future. We had about 25 minutes. "I'd feel terrible if she got fired," Lorena added. "I doubt they'll fire her," I said, not sure if that was true. The truth was, I thought Lorena had overreacted a little. If it had been my pancakes, I would have let it go. But I'd never tell Lorena that now. What would be the point, except to make Lorena feel bad? It had been one of those loud, public confrontations that made me cringe inside, even when it was taking place at someone else's table, and as I said, I'd already had one extremely traumatic argument that day. Lorena had asked nicely for the waitress to take the pancakes back, and I distinctly remember her telling the waitress to hold the butter. Of course she had. She's lactose intolerant. She always does. When the pancakes arrived, and Lorena pointed out the butter, the waitress suggested Lorena move it into the cup that held the little cream containers. She'd been frazzled, slightly huffy, her dark bangs pasted to her forehead by sweat. She was about our age, late 20s, and had long tattoos of assault rifles morphing into flowers, trailing up each of her forearms. The tattoos suggested she was an easygoing neo-hippie sort of woman, but her eyes suggested much of that peace, love, and good times, listening to Fish, had been blunted by double shifts at the Blue Boy. Faces had lifted from grilled chicken.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?